on the floor. You don't wanna party, then your ass gotta go. You don't wanna party, then your ass gotta go. You can ride to this mother, bounce to this mother, freak to this mother. Let's get it on. Get it on the floor. Get it on the floor. Get it on the floor. Get it on the floor.
Once again, it's the dark again, and it's spark again, break apart again, but the dog is bigger under stress, so unless you wanna get blessed to the chest, the slugs from the spit for west, best of a bubble put a hurt, rolling in the top six, mother feet of dirt, rolling again, my hands stay dirty, cause I play dirty the mob way, you don't know, find out the hard way, but the job is never done, hand on my business, how it come.
What's up, everybody? This is Dame Crawford with Uncool Radio. We are in the house, and the house is not packed yet. We got a few people coming in late, but I just wanted to get the show started so we can start going into what we're going to talk about tonight because there's a lot to talk about tonight. There's a lot to deal with. I had a few people hit me in the inbox and said they wanted me to talk about, wanted us to talk about and go through on the show the propositions and things for the midterms. So that's what we're going to do today. So let's get started. And what I'm going to do, I'm just going to go through and talk about, what's coming up, what's in the proposition, what it can mean, so you can make the decision for yourself. All right. Because sometimes I know these propositions can get tricky. And so we want to make sure you just have all the information and it's broken down in layman's term. So you guys can go out, make the best decision, and make sure you go out, vote for the midterms. This is going to be an important election. A lot of people pay attention to the presidential election, and then they don't pay attention to the midterms. And the midterms are usually the most important elections for local elections, because in the midterm elections, these are the things that affect us directly, right? So since these are the things that affect us directly, I think we should, jump down, get into it, and talk about some of the things that are going to be in the midterm. So first, well, I won't start with that first. I'll end with the candidates. We'll go to the propositions first. So first proposition 1. Excuse me. Proposition 1, guarantee the right to an abortion. Proposition 1 is intended to guarantee the right to an abortion and contraception in the California Constitution, making it harder to restrict contraceptives or abortions in the future. So this proposition is intended to enshrine the right to an abortion and contraception in the state constitution. It is referred constitutional amendment, which means that the California legislature proposed and passed it, but the amendment must be approved by voters before it becomes law. So the official title on the ballot: Constitutional Right to Reproductive Freedom, Legislative Constitutional Amendment. So what your vote means, and this is the important part, a yes means that you are voting to change the California Constitution, barring straight legislators from passing laws that interfere with a person's right. A vote no means that you be voting to enshrine the right to contraception or an abortion in the state constitution. That means the California legislature would be able to repeal or eliminate. So if you are for this one, this is one of the ones that if you're for it, you're going to vote yes. If you want contraceptives and abortions to be a part of the California Constitution, you want to vote yes. If you want it to be able to be repealed and amended, then that means you will want to vote no. So that is prop number 1. Prop 26. All right, Prop 26 is sporting bets at casinos. Proposition 26 would legalize in-person sports betting at casinos, some horse racing tracks, and is on track to be the most expensive ballot measure in California history. The measure was submitted by Edwin Romero, Jeff Grubb, Anthony Roberts, all chairmen of tribes that operate in casinos in California. So here's what you need to know. The official title on the ballot allows in-person roulette, dice games, sports, wagering on tribal lands, initiative constitutions. What up, Ron?
How you doing, brother?
All right. So I'm talking about Proposition 26 right now, Ron. I'm going through the propositions first.
Yeah, got my ballot right here with me.
So the official title on the ballot allows in-person roulette, dice games, sports wagering on tribal lands, initiative, constitutional, and statutory amendment. So what your vote means, A yes vote means that you'll be voting to legalize in-person sports betting, legalize roulette and dice games in tribal casinos, establish a fund to collect taxes and other payments to go towards things like education, spending in the state's general fund, and you will allow enforcement of certain gambling laws to include a civil lawsuit. A vote for no means, you keep in-person betting, roulette, dice games illegal in California. I would personally vote yes on this because your then that means your casinos get a little closer to the Vegas casinos, so you get a little more. You get some better games at like the casinos that's out our way, and
Right.
you know what I mean. And of course that's going to bring more money. And so we want. I personally am for in-person betting. What about you, Ron?
Well, I mean, it's a catch-22 when you talk about gambling. For safety purposes, I think we've learned that gambling is best done in a licensed facility.
Say that.
That's for one thing. So that would allow, a lot of these games that are kind of being done in the backyard and back houses to move into a proper facility, just for safety purposes. Outside of that, and then, but I mean, let's look at both sides of this. I think what has kind of been understood, and I apologize, my dog's always talking when I'm talking, but I think what most people know is like the games that they're talking about adding kind of bring a certain element to the casino.
Right.
Prior to that, I think out here you have slot machines, you have things that bring an older crowd to the casino.
Yeah.
And when you implement the games that they're referring to, you're going to bring a different dynamic to the casino. And so if it's done properly, I think it can definitely help. Now, my only question is who's opposing, because that you always want to kind of look at who's actually putting this up. What are their long-term goals? It may just sound like, hey, we're just adding this, but I know that will impact Vegas for one. So a lot of Californians don't have to go to Vegas to gamble. So it's tough. I mean, I'm a gambler, so I think I'm biased. So I really try to stay away from telling people.
Well, as a gambler, let me ask you, because this is something. I mean, we kind of need the bias in this case. So you as a gambler, what would you like? Would you like some of these games to come to Pechanga and the Indian reservations that we have out this way? Would you like some of these games to be closer than having to go all the way to Vegas to play roulette, craps, and certain games?
Definitely, for my own personal means, and obviously we don't condone gambling. Let's make that clear. Uncouth doesn't really condone gambling, but speaking just for myself as
Right.
a person that tends to gamble a little bit more, I would love to be able to go closer, specifically Hollywood Park Casino right here in Inglewood.
Oh yeah, because that would affect Hollywood Park Casino. That's interesting. Okay, that's an
Exactly.
interesting twist to it. I didn't think about that.
And then we have a lot of smaller, that are maybe privately owned casinos. I know Hollywood Park is one of them. There's a younger guy from Techfield.
And Hustler Casino, the Hustler.
Exactly. And those are family. A couple of those are family-owned casinos. So
Yeah.
I think it gives larger groups access to owning casinos, especially the Indian tribe. So they really weren't getting the influx of casino users that they could get because they didn't have the games everybody wants.
Well, yeah, because Vegas had a monopoly on certain games.
Exactly. So this may be the benefit of them. And I think, just speaking from a group that's been, historically oppressed, I think it's fair to give them access to sort of give them equity into the gambling industry, give them that full access. It's kind of, they've been given kind of like just a piece of the pie. And now this just gives them full access to that. So definitely I would probably be for this.
Okay. Yeah. So it's good to know. All right. Let's go on to the next proposition, which is a lot of sports betting propositions, betting propositions, I should say. So that should tell you.
Well, you knew that was coming when they built the stadium. You had to know what the idea was for this area.
Absolutely. So California Proposition 27, sports betting online. Proposition 27 will legalize online sports betting in California, including on mobile phones. Gambling companies will have to partner with tribes, though, in order to acquire a license. So Proposition 27 will legalize in California, breaking fundraising records. So so is the related Proposition 26. So these two are kind of put together. You know what I mean?
Right,
so
right.
Proposition 27 was submitted by Kurt Oneto, John Moffat, both lawyers at a political firm that often represents large corporations. So here's everything you need to know about the proposition. The official title on the ballot allows online and mobile sports wagering outside of tribal lands. Initiative, constitutional amendment, and statute. A yes vote means that you'll be voting to legalize online sports betting with licensed gaming tribes and companies, establish a fund to collect taxes and other payments to go towards homeless services and tribes that don't do sports betting, allow the California Department of Justice to oversee regulation, including implementing penalties for illegal online sports betting that would accrue daily if left unpaid. Now, a no vote means keeps online sports betting illegal. California enforcement laws will stay the same. So what the measure would do, state laws currently limit certain types of gambling, including a total ban on sports betting, which is wagering on a predicted outcome in the sports, like a particular team's win. If passed, Prop 27 would legalize online sports gambling in California under most circumstances. The measure would make 5 key changes. It's a little complicated, but hey, let's unpack this. Legalize online sports betting with Native American gaming tribes and licensed companies. So sports betting is currently illegal and in all circumstances, but if the prop passes, people 21 years and older will be able to place bets online, including through mobile phones. Now, bets will be allowed on athletic events and some non-athletic events like esports, award shows. Youth sports wouldn't be eligible, thank God. Sports betting will remain illegal for people under 21, so that doesn't change. Gaming company, but it gets tricky, like you said, because you could do it through your phone. Gaming companies would be able to offer online sports betting in California. If they strike a deal with a tribe, they would have to renew their license every 5 years. So for this one, what are you thinking?
Well, I think, like you mentioned, the two, they kind of go together.
Go hand in hand.
We're dealing with in-person gambling as opposed to, mobile gambling. And, we're always just curious of how these things actually trickle down to the tribes. If it works, it sounds great. And it just makes it more convenient. I think I've seen a few of the commercials, though, that tackle, who now would have access to be able to do this stuff. So I think minors would dive a little bit more. And mind you, minors know how to get to gambling if they need to.
Right.
Most of these kids know how to circumvent the internet. So they don't need to know. They know how to use VPNs and things like that. So that they don't need this this is not going to stop them from doing what they want to do. But
right.
If that money that they're referring to can come and trickle down to the state, I think we can use all the money we can. Let's just be quite honest. We're trying to really just create barriers for things that we know exist. You can gamble. This country is cool with gambling. You just can't gamble here. You can't be standing here and do this. So, if as a country we're comfortable legalizing gambling in certain states, I honestly think it should be legal everywhere.
Right.
Just to be quite honest with you. But again, I have that bias as being a person that gambles, and I also respect people who have had family members who have fallen victim to a gambling lifestyle. Obviously, I'm huge on investing and things like that. So that kind of just completely goes against it. But I have a gambler's mentality, and investing is kind of like gambling. And so I just figured, hey, if I'm going to do this, I might as well do that. I actually played the lotto when it was $1 billion, and that's something I always talk down, but it's just like, hey, it's $1 billion. So I see all the church people I know that actually do go to church and say, it's $1 billion, so there's some things, people kind of lean, they stretch those morals when that lotto get $1 billion. So I think this just kind of goes along with, our morals as a country. We're a gambling society, and this should just go along that line. I don't think there should be barriers for certain things and certain just here and just there, unless it's drugs. I would like there to be certain areas for drugs, things like that. But for gambling, hey, if that's what floats your boat, I just would remind people gambling is an addictive habit. And if you do choose to gamble, just understand what you're doing and what it can lead to. So, I have to put that disclaimer out there.
Right.
But for me, I just like the one previously, I would probably vote with this bill to provide more convenience to Californians, just to be quite honest with you. I mean, we're out here having to go through VPNs to do stuff. We can't get on, this app, and we got to go this app to do that. And aligning with tribes is a good way. This to me is a great way to show specific contributions to a specific group. So they're saying, okay, these tribes deserve this. This was taken, they get this. So this is sort of a reparation. We're going to give them the gamble. We'll give them the residuals of that profit. And I think that's a great way to go about it. Maybe
hold on real quick, Ryan. I think we have some issues. We have been blocked.
Oh, what did I say?
You didn't say nothing. They said it was blocked because of the music that I use today.
I got you.
So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go out and start over.
Okay, let me hop out.
Yeah.
Cool. Grab my pen now.